The Last Resort has brought together some of the greatest minds and teachers to give you advice on how to navigate your way through the current situation.
So there's like a couple of tips I have. So the first one is you have to radically up your level of self-care. That's number one. In a crisis like this, because your level of self-support needs to match the level of challenge around you. Right now, we are in a 9 out of 10 plus kind of situation in terms of challenge. And if your self-care and your support system is not at a 9 out of 10, you're really going to be struggling, and your nerves are going to be frayed, and there's the panic all around you. So really right now it's time to figure out what you can do for yourself to resource yourself. Like, you have to become really excellent at self-care and encourage your partner to do the same. So that's step one. Radically up your level of self-care and notice when you are being stretched and take action to kind of like unfreak you, to resource yourself, and then ask your partner. So it's very important. Like, we are all going to not be at our very best right now. Emotions are going to fly high. So it's about cutting your partner a little bit of slack and cutting yourself a little bit of slack, but kind of showing up and showing up as the best person you know how to be, and resourcing yourself and kind of, showing up like that. So radical self-care is the first thing. And when you've got that sorted, then you can sit with your partner. You can say, okay, like, times are unprecedented. We know we need extra support. What do you need? What can I do when you're feeling freaked out? What do you need? What would you like me to do? How can I support you? How do you feel loved? Have those conversations and start doing that. So start making your partner, resourcing yourself and resourcing your partner, and thereby resourcing your relationship. Make that your priority. And it's actions, not words, that make a difference here. So radical self-care, it's like I say, I think for most people our support network is not at a 9 out of 10. So it's not up to the current challenge of this crisis. I don't know anyone whose network is at that level. I think if you're doing really well, your support might be at a 4 out of 10, and then you're quite ahead of the game. But so self-care is you're doing things that make you feel centered, grounded, stronger, connected with your body, which are pleasurable. Like, pleasure is really going to be key here, especially for women. Pleasure is really going to be key here. It's about continuing to restore your hope and your faith and your love of life by doing things that feed your soul and that kind of replenish you. And there's nothing that replenishes you better than pleasure. So whether that is taking a hot bubble bath, whether that is giving each other a massage, like doing a massage date is a fantastic thing to do in these times, I think, where at least a couple of times a week you kind of trade a massage each. And it's a wonderful way to kind of do communication. You can make it a little massage game where you say, I'd love you to massage my calf, and I'd like you to do it a little firmer, a little slower. Like, really give yourself permission, create a space where it's okay for you to ask for exactly what you want from your partner. And as long as you know you're going to exchange, then it means that both of you can get from each other exactly what you need in that moment. And it means you're going to start seeing each other as a resource and as a source of strength and support and pleasure, which is really going to strengthen your connection, because you're really making each other stronger by being together this way. So for different people, that's different. It could be reading a book, watching a film you love. It could be cooling a loved one. It could be having a romantic dinner date. It could be reading poetry to each other. Like, know what feeds you, but also know what feeds your relationship. Like, what feeds you physically, but also what feeds you as an erotic creature. Like, what do you need to kind of, feel like you want to be sexually alive with your partner, and teach your partner how to do this for you. So those games where you set up places where you can ask for anything you want is a really powerful strategy, and I think has saved many relationships. And then when you're like unfreaked, And maybe your partner is freaked, like support them by unfreaking them a little bit, or encourage them to do something that you know really resources them. And then say, hey, let's have a conversation about how we can really support each other in these unprecedented times. Like, I care about you and I'd love to be a resource for you in this. And I'd love to use this opportunity to strengthen our relationship. It's, I would say, not like, oh, we need to talk and things are not going okay. I'd say, look, I'd really like to be a resource to you in these unprecedented times. I'd really like to help you through this. And I'd love for us to get better at supporting each other in this. Like, whatever you need to hear right now, give your partner the words you need them to say when you have that agreement, and say, I need you to do this, and say that. Give them the script if there's a script. Set them up to win. Because you know what, when even I used to think, oh, if I give them the words, it's not going to be so powerful. But you know what? When I received that and I gave the guy the words, he said them exactly as I said it, I cried. Right now we're in such a high energy and challenging time. We don't really need to make each other's lives harder. So let's make it easy for each other. If you are struggling with this lockdown situation in your couple, if you're alone, if you're apart or if you're together and you're going crazy, I'd like to offer you the gift of a free 30-minute crisis consult for couples that are struggling with the lockdown. That's only like whilst the lockdown is on. And if you would like this, just drop me an email at info@intimatedynamics.com and just put the last resort call into the tagline, and then we'll get that scheduled in for you. And we'll see if we can't get you unfreaked and moving forward in your journey as a couple and enjoying that time that you have together to really strengthen your relationship and take it to the next level.
Look out for our special SOS advice on our Instagram and Facebook pages. A new type of conversation is going to start happening in your home. But don't worry, we're here to help.